What if that restless feeling you carry, that constant nagging sense that you should be doing more, being more, getting more, isn't actually a problem to be solved? What if it's a signal, a call from a deeper part of yourself? Before you dive in, just for a moment, find a quiet space. Put on your headphones, maybe get a warm cuppa, and let the world outside fade away. Allow this conversation to be a gentle companion. This isn't just content to be consumed, it's a space to reflect. We're about to explore an ancient framework that feels uncannily relevant to our modern lives. It's for anyone who's ever felt pulled in two directions, towards the ambitions of the world and a quieter, more spiritual curiosity. By listening, you'll gain a kind of spiritual roadmap. You'll understand the different stages of that journey, not as a judgment, but as a compassionate guide. This conversation is designed to meet you exactly where you are and show you, with clarity and without pressure, what the next step on your own path might look like. It promises a rare moment of self-recognition, a feeling of, so that's what this is. You are about to uncover a profound perspective on your own life's journey. So let's begin.
All right, Arj, I've read that text you sent over, and honestly, my head's still buzzing a little. It's a lot. Not in a bad way, just dense. You said it would give me some clarity, but right now I feel like I'm looking at a giant map without the "You are here" sticker.
I know what you mean, mate. It's not exactly a light read for the tube, is it? But I thought of you because of our chat the other night, about feeling pulled between your career stuff and that deeper itch you mentioned. The first bit of the text, that's what really made me send it.
The eligibility of the candidate bit? Go on then. What was it?
It's that line, that you can have a little bit of attraction for the spiritual side of things, for Krishna, but at the same time, be very much attached to fruitive activities and material sense enjoyment. And that's okay. You're still an eligible candidate. I just think that's such a compassionate place to start, isn't it? It's not saying you have to drop everything and become a monk tomorrow.
That did stand out, actually, because you hear the word devotee and you immediately picture someone who's renounced everything. But this says you can still be in the thick of it, wanting that promotion, wanting to go on a nice holiday, and still have a genuine spiritual spark. So it's not a deal breaker.
Exactly. It's not a deal breaker. It says your attraction, as long as it's unflinching, is what matters. That's the key. That little flame of interest is the most important thing. The text calls it the sign of great fortune.
Great fortune. Lord Chaitanya says only the fortunate get the seed of devotional service. That language can feel a bit like either you've won the lottery or you haven't. What does fortune really mean here? Is it just luck?
I don't reckon it means fortune like finding a tenner on the street. It's more like fortunate circumstances. It talks about getting that seed by the mercy of a spiritual master and Krishna. The fortune is being in the right place, mentally or physically, to be open to it. It's associating with Mahatmas, those great souls who are already deep in it. It's being lucky enough to meet someone or read something that plants that seed. Like us, having this chat right now, you could say is a form of that fortunate association.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's less about random chance and more about an opportunity presenting itself. And the quote from the book, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam?
Yeah, from the 11th canto. It's Krishna talking to Uddhava, a close friend. He basically says, look, it takes exceptional fortune to become attracted to me. And even if someone isn't fully detached from their normal life, this path works really quickly for them. It's like a promise. It's saying, just start from where you are. I can work with that.
That's actually really comforting. Right, so then it gets into these three classes of devotees. This is where I started getting a bit lost, trying to place everyone.
Let's break it down. Think of it like learning an instrument. The first class devotee is like a master musician. They're not just technically brilliant, they know the theory inside and out. The text says they're very expert in the study of relevant scriptures and can argue their case perfectly. But more than that, they know the goal. The point of all the music is to create a beautiful sound. And for them, the point of all the rules and scriptures is to attain to the transcendental loving service of Krishna.
So they're the scholars, the experts, the ones who can quote everything back at you, but with genuine feeling. The text says they're trained by a bona fide spiritual master. That bit's important, isn't it? It's not just about reading books on your own.
Crucial. They're not making it up as they go along. They followed a lineage, a higher authority. They have firm faith because they've built it on a foundation of reason and arguments from the scriptures, not just dry speculative methods. They're not interested in intellectual gymnastics for the sake of it. They're masters who can now teach others. They can become spiritual masters themselves. They're sorted.
Blimey, that feels a million miles away, to be honest. It sounds a bit intimidating. What about the next one? The second-class devotee sounds a bit more achievable.
Totally. The second-class devotee is where that analogy of the loyal football fan comes in for me. They have firm faith in the objective. They know, deep in their gut, that Krishna is the supreme, the goal. But if someone comes at them with a load of complicated arguments, they might not be able to counter every single point. They're not a scholar. They can't offer arguments and decisions on the strength of revealed scripture. But it doesn't matter, because their own conviction is undaunted. Their faith isn't shaken just because they can't win a debate.
I like that. That feels real. It's a heart knowledge, not just a head knowledge. It's a deep personal conviction that isn't dependent on being able to prove it to someone else. Okay, I get that. So what about the third class, the neophyte?
The neophyte, or beginner, is the one whose faith isn't strong yet. The text is very clear. Their faith can be changed by someone with strong arguments. Unlike the second-class person who stands firm, the neophyte is still susceptible. They don't have that unshakable internal conviction yet. That's the main difference. The neophyte has no firm faith in the objective.
And this is where it loops back to people like me, and most people, I guess, because then it says this neophyte stage is further broken down into 4 categories from the Bhagavad-gītā. This part I found fascinating.
This is the most relatable bit for many. The 4 kinds of people who begin devotional service. First, those who are distressed. Things are going horribly wrong in their life. They've hit rock bottom, and in that desperation, they turn to God. The text gives the example of Gajendra.
The elephant king, right? Who was being attacked by a crocodile and prayed for help. That makes perfect sense. You're in trouble, so you pray. It's almost instinctual for some.
Then you have those who are in need of money, or more broadly, in need of some material thing. The example is Maharaja Dhruva, who wanted his father's kingdom. So he starts his spiritual practice with that goal in mind. That's totally relatable, isn't it? Praying to pass an exam, for a pay rise, for your family to be okay. It's transactional, but it's a start.
A very honest start. It admits that we often come to God because we want something. Then the inquisitive, the seekers, the people who are always asking questions, like the sages in Naimisharanya Forest. They just wanted to know more about Krishna, so they kept asking. That's probably us, in a way. Curious.
I'd say so. And finally, you have the wise, the Jnani. This is someone who isn't in trouble or wanting for something, or even just curious. They've studied and they've come to the intellectual conclusion that God is great. They get it on a philosophical level. The example of the 4 Kumaras fits here. They were great sages who became attracted to devotion through their wisdom.
It says they've all been accepted as pious, and that you can't even begin this journey without being pious, without having your sinful reactions stopped. That's another bit that could trip someone up. Does that mean you have to be perfect?
I think pious here just means you have a baseline of belief. You're not a complete atheist or nihilist. The text explains that if a man in distress isn't pious, he just becomes an agnostic or a communist, thinking he can fix it all himself without God. So being pious is having that fundamental orientation that there is something higher, and it's good. It's the opposite of a completely cynical worldview. And the crucial point is that anyone in these 4 groups can be elevated. The key ingredient? Association with pure devotees. That's the catalyst for growth every single time.
So you start where you start, distressed, skint, curious, or wise, but that's just the door in. The way you move up is by sticking around people who are further along the path. That makes sense. But the text seems to have a favorite, doesn't it? It says the wise person is very dear to Krishna. Why them specifically?
Because it's the least transactional relationship. The wise person, it says, isn't seeking an exchange of material benefits. Their attraction is based on love and appreciation from the get-go. And through their wisdom, their study, they understand who Krishna really is, the cause of all causes. So when they surrender, it's a really well-informed, deep decision. It's not a panic response or a shopping list of desires.
But then it says the others are also magnanimous and liberal, broad-minded Mahatmas, just for showing up, even if they're asking for stuff. I like that. It's like, okay, the wise guy is top of the class, but props to everyone else for even coming to God in the first place instead of somewhere else.
Exactly. It validates every starting point, but the aim is to move towards that wisdom. The text says you can't really stick to the principle of worship without getting to that wise platform, the Janani level. The others are more easily distracted because their focus is still on material things, distress, money, which are related to the body. The wise man is different because he's already started to understand, I am a spirit soul, not just this body. That's the real game changer.
Ah, the bodily concept of life. This is a huge theme, isn't it? Getting free from that. It says, once you have that Brahman realization, you're free from anxiety and see everyone equally, and then you're truly eligible for devotional service.
It's the whole foundation, because as long as we think we are this body, all our happiness is tied to it. The text identifies 3 kinds of happiness: material, spiritual, and devotional. And it says you can't get to that devotional happiness if you're stuck on the material level. And here's the zinger. It says even the desire for mukti, for liberation, for merging and becoming one with God is also a material concept.
Hang on, that's what threw me. How can the desire to be liberated and one with God be material? That seems like the most spiritual goal imaginable.
It's a mind bender for sure, but think about the psychology behind it. What is the impulse in the material world? To be the best, the top dog, to be the greatest. The text argues that the desire to merge with the greatest of all is just an extension of that same ego-driven impulse to be the biggest and best. It's still all about me and my status, just on a cosmic scale.
Wow. Okay, I'm getting it. So, it's still self-centered. The focus is still on what I will become. It's not about a relationship.
You've got it. And that's why Srila Rupa Goswami compares both of those desires, for material enjoyment, bhukti, and for liberation, mukti, with being influenced by the black art of a witch.
That language is so strong, like being haunted by ghosts and witches. It's saying these desires, even the super spiritual sounding one, are like a curse that stops you from tasting the real thing.
Because the real thing, the really sweet taste of devotional service, is only possible when you drop the what's in it for me angle completely. A pure devotee, the text says, never cares for liberation. That's radical. The prayer from Lord Chaitanya just floored me when I first read it. He says, I don't want followers, wealth, a beautiful wife. I don't even want to stop being reborn. Just let my devotion to you be unflinching birth after birth.
That's a whole other level. To choose love over the cessation of suffering, that's how you know the love itself is the highest possible pleasure.
Bilva Mangala Thakura says that liberation is standing at his door with folded hands waiting to serve me. That's some serious confidence. He's saying I don't need to chase that. It's a byproduct I'm not even interested in.
And Krishna confirms it. He tells his mother, Devahuti, my pure devotees are so charmed by me, my face, my smile, my pastimes, that they don't desire liberation. But I give them a place with me anyway.
It's like a reward you get precisely because you weren't trying to get it. He basically says that someone attracted to service will naturally never even aspire for the liberation that the impersonalists think is the ultimate goal.
It keeps hammering that point home, doesn't it? With the quote from Uddhava saying for a devotee, religion, money, sense gratification, even liberation are all worthless. He just prays for unflinching faith and devotion. It's all about the connection.
The final quote from Kapila explains why. It's because the pleasure they get from their devotion is so immense, especially when they assemble together to understand my qualities, and thus glorify me congregationally and derive transcendental pleasure therefrom. That communal joy is so great, they'd refuse a post equal to Krishna's or even his opulence. They refuse to become one with me, because if they became one, who would they worship? The relationship would be over.
the conversation would end. That's what they're protecting, the eternal conversation. Wow. And King Dhruva, the kid who started out just wanting a kingdom, he ends up saying the same thing, that the pleasure a devotee gets from meditation makes the pleasure of self-realization or heavenly planets seem tiny in comparison.
See? He got elevated. He started as a neophyte in need of stuff and became a pure devotee who realized that the feeling of connection was worth more than any kingdom he could imagine. That's the whole journey right there in one story.
So that map, that big, confusing map, the "You Are Here" sticker can be in a few different places to start. You can be distressed or wanting or curious or wise. You can be attached to the world but still feel a pull.
Always away from what can I get, even if that thing is liberation itself, and towards what can I give, towards a love that is its own reward, so completely fulfilling that it makes everything else, even freedom from suffering, seem like a secondary bonus you're not even fussed about.
Blimey, RG. Okay, I get it. I see the map now. It's not just a map, it's a love story, really, about the different ways one can fall in love. Thanks, that's really helped.
And so the conversation comes to a pause. In the beginning, we promised you a roadmap for the soul, a moment of clarity. We hope that, in listening to Arjun and Maya, you found just that, a compassionate framework to see your own unique and personal journey. As you were listening, did a specific person come to mind? A friend who's feeling a bit adrift, asking these same questions in the quiet of their own heart? Don't just share a link into the void. Send this to them personally. It's not about helping us, it's an act of friendship. A way of saying, I heard this and thought of you, which is one of the kindest things we can do. The comment section below is more than just a place for opinions. Let's make it a living archive of where we all are right now. Take a moment and share which of the stages resonated with you the most. Are you in a place of curiosity? Are you navigating that pull between the material and the spiritual? By adding your small piece to the story, you make the next person who arrives feel less alone in their own experience. If any part of that discussion sparked a moment of aha for you, a feeling of being seen or understood, consider pressing that like button, not as a metric for an algorithm, but as a quiet, personal acknowledgement to yourself. A simple nod that says, yes, I am on a journey and I am open to it. And finally, if you believe that conversations like these are necessary food for thought in our busy world, then we invite you to subscribe. This isn't just clicking a button. It's making a conscious choice to continue this journey with a community of fellow travelers. It's an invitation to keep exploring these profound and beautiful ideas together. Thank you for listening so deeply.
Explore more reflections on love, surrender, and the divine. Watch the next video or subscribe for deeper journeys.
Love is not the end, it's the way.